Hi, guys. Okay, I just had some more technical issues, but I am here now. This might be like a different stream than you were coming to, but hopefully you make it over here. And okay, close this out. I'm actually sharing a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Um, and it's typically a topic that I don't that I find that I save for, hold on a second. Um, there we go. That's better. Um, I tend to save it more for my in person work. And that's because it can be difficult to kind of convey it through the internet. But I'm going to try because for months and months I've been receiving your messages and I see your posts on the Facebook group and your emails. And what I experience when I read them and what I get and understand is this sense of overwhelm, like just overwhelm and just like, tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do and I'll do whatever you tell me what to do. And I recognize that there's tons of fertility products out there. I don't even, I don't even know what all of them are because it's too overwhelming. And you guys are also getting like different feedback from your friends and your doctors and your reproductive endocrinologists. And a lot of you are saying, my doctor's telling me not to do this, but what he's telling me to do doesn't feel right. And it's overwhelming. I get it. Um, and my goal always is not to be just another person who's telling you what to do. And I find that I've gotten like sucked into that a little bit because, of course, I want to give you what you want and I want to give you the tools that you need to get pregnant. And for some of you, just taking this combination of teas and products and whatever will get you pregnant. And so I want to offer that. But that feels like only part of the solution and part of the equation. And so, what I want to offer you today is a different, kind of a different experience of what you can be looking for when you're in your fertility journey. And it's an experience of not looking outside of yourself for answers, but it's an experience of absorbing what you need and kind of connecting with your mind, of course, and your head and your heart so that you can have the answers yourself. And so, because I can't just tell you what to do, I'm actually going to present this in a story. So, I'm going to tell you a story that many of you have probably heard different variations of before. And it's the story of this woman or girl, very, very young woman, maiden even, who goes to journey off into the woods, the deep, dark woods. And whether it's for whatever reason, often to help her father or find something that she needs, the story as we have heard it and as it's been kind of fed to us since we were little girls, is the story of this maiden who goes into the woods, and there in the woods she comes across this evil. And this evil is often, as it's been told to us, in the form of a kind of maligned version of the feminine. So it's a version of the feminine either as the evil stepmother or the wicked witch or the crone or the hag. And in the version of the story that we've been told, the girl, the maiden, kind of succumbs to this evil. And it is only by the hand of the handsome prince that she is saved. And then they live happily ever after. And this is the story that's kind of been told to us about this maiden who enters the dark woods and is greeted by the evil stepmother or the wicked witch and is saved by the prince. But as the story actually goes, before it was changed by like Disney and fairy tales, is actually one where the woman, the girl, maiden, journeys into the woods, into the forest, and she's not, she does meet an evil, but she's not saved by a handsome prince. And instead, she has to use her own resources and her own inner wisdom and her own inner knowing, and usually in connecting with her own energy and through nature and through the creatures of the forest, she's able to kind of come away, wrangle herself away from whatever the evil is. And she comes out of the forest on the other side, no longer the innocent, helpless maiden, but rather the mother, And even though she's not like pregnant or have a baby, this is like the archetype of the mother. And so that's kind of what I want to introduce you today. That story introduced three main archetypes that I am finding are kind of missing for a lot of my patients in their fertility journey. And so, this is not the video where I'm telling you about what teas to drink. I've talked about that a million times, and I can talk about that a million times, but that's not what this is. This is for those of you who feel like you're doing everything right and you're drinking the teas and you're doing all the things and you're like, oh, it's not working, right? So there's this other energy at play. And this is what I find when I work with women one on one and even in small groups. Often this transition from maiden to mother is kind of stuck. And women are kind of getting stuck in that transition. And the thing is that I want to say is that there's no shame in this and it's not your fault. That's important to share. And so I want to introduce these three kind of archetypes that are necessary for all women to understand. And the thing is that I find that even often when women do become actual physical mothers, they're still kind of stuck in this maiden archetype. And so I just want to ask you like a few questions that you can kind of ask yourself. Like, do you have wise women figures in your life, like elders, women who have initiated you into being women, women that you respect, women that you can look up to? And for many of us, that answer is no. And, our system is kind of set up so that that's kind of missing for many of us. And it's kind of set up that way, kind of purposefully. The women who were the wise women and the elders, the women who we could look to for a resource to help us with our, our fertility and our reproductive health. It wasn't that long ago that those women were destroyed for feeling that connection. And so when we look at our culture, the ideals of the feminine that we see as kind of idealized are these values that are kind of resonant with the maiden. And we only have to look as far as like our diet industry and our plastic surgery industry and even our pornography industry to see that the maiden and kind of those characteristics that she represents are what's idealized. So like fair and youthful and beautiful and innocent and even a little bit naive. And that's not to say that the maiden is like not a valuable part of these feminine archetypes. Like we all pass through this phase of the maiden. But so many of us get stuck there because we don't see what this next phase is. And often when I ask my patients about their relationship with their mother, even if we love our mothers and we respect our mothers and we value our mothers, often our mothers could be still seeking the mate. Like I see women who are in their 80s who are still like trying to hold on to their youth and still kind of like want some handsome prince to save them or want someone to tell them what to do. And that's because we tend not to have this resonance with this idea of the mother. And so when we look at what mother means to us, often if we look at our own mothers, we might see women who are unfulfilled themselves, who are not happy, who are maybe haven't achieved what they, their fullness or their purpose. And if you have a mother who's really like connected to herself and connected to her body and like really purposeful, like that's amazing and you're lucky. But for many of us, we don't, and our culture doesn't kind of, now we're a little bit more like we have, if anyone's seen like, what's that movie? Captain Marvel or like Mulan. Like these are great stories that are great for the young girls being raised today. But for us, like we weren't raised with those. We were raised with a lot of like hero stories and action stories and even myths, even the Greek myth. It's all about the men, the prince that will, do his hero's journey and become the king at the end. And so these are stories that men have, but women, they were kind of like that journey was kind of removed from our our category of stories. So it's easier for me to tell you what a mother is not, when we talk about mother. And again, this doesn't mean that an actual mother, and it can also mean someone that has children who has not done this work. So often it's the understanding that we need to go into our own body and feel deeply embodied and connected to ourselves so that we know what's right for us, and it's not that someone else is going to give us the answers. So have you ever like, been at a party or something and seen a woman walk into a room and you just know that she is like not looking at for anyone else to like validate her presence there. She's like confident in who she is. She knows where she stands. She's in her body. She's embodied. This is what a mother is. It's someone who is whole in and of herself. And then from that place of wholeness, she's able to create, whether it's a baby or whether it's art or poetry or, she's like the creatrix of her life. And she's not waiting for some handsome prince to save her. She's, oh, wait. All right, hold on. I'm looking at your things. Okay, so this is what I get. I get a lot of people who are like, I drank the tea for a week and it didn't work for me, or I drank the tea for 2 months and it didn't work for you. Okay, so let's continue, let's continue this work. And for some of you, you will listen to this and you'll say, nope, I just want to drink the tea. Like, this isn't for me. I just want to drink the teas, and you keep telling me what to do, and that's where you're at. And honestly, that's fine. Like, I'm happy to do that. That's what I've been doing for a year, like telling you when and where and how to drink the tea, and I will continue to do that. But for those of you who this might resonate a little bit, when you think about how were you sexualized as a young girl, or you think about how is my relationship with my mother, like how do I relate to my mother? Like for me, my mother grew up in a time when women, she was interested in medicine, and it was like, okay, so you marry a doctor, and her brother became a doctor, but it wasn't an option for her to become a doctor. So it's important for us to look at this and to see how we experience the feminine and the women in our lives. Do we have close sisterhoods? Do we have a close connection to our friends? How were we kind of initiated into our own reproductive health? Was there any kind of rite of passage, or we were just like given a tampon? Do we have wise women elders who we can look up to and experience? Are we kind of clinging to this idea of what feminine looks like, and we're seeing a lot of that in like TikTok. I mean, I don't go on TikTok, but when I do, I'm like, oh my God. So these ideals of the feminine are kind of presented to us, but for many of us who are stuck in this transition from maiden to mother, this work will feel important. And so if you're feeling at this point like, I feel this a little bit, like I feel a little tension in my throat, or I feel a little, discomfort, then maybe this is for you. And my guess would be that maybe you just stepped your toe into like the dark forest, which is the depths of our, unconscious. And I assure you that if you continue going through there, it's not that a handsome prince is going to save you. And unfortunately, I can't be your handsome prince, but that you will come out the other end of that journey, a more embodied, whole version of yourself. And the thing with when women get kind of stuck in that maidenhood, it's that it becomes unfulfilled. Like there's no way that anybody can fulfill that deep need for you. And I see that in my patients who do get pregnant, who get pregnant easily often. If that is still like a thing in them where they hadn't kind of integrated their maiden and they haven't really come into that full version of motherhood and what it means to be a creatrix of your own life, they still might feel unfulfilled after they have a baby, or after they meet the handsome guy, or after they get the good job. It's like still this sense of like, I want someone to save me and rescue me, when really it's like we need to do the work. So I can tell you what to do, and I have been, and you can keep going and watching my videos. But if this resonates at all, or if you find that this might resonate for somebody else, I definitely have something coming that's exciting, and you can go to www.fertilelikeamother.com to learn more. But it will include this journey, and it's really hard to introduce this topic and this theme because it's a lot bigger. I get it, that it's a lot bigger than what a lot of people want, which is like, just drink this tea and you'll get pregnant. And for some of you, that might be what happens. But for those of you that this resonates for, I hope that you will let me know. You can comment. Also, if you're watching this live, can you just comment #live? And if you're watching this on a replay, can you comment #replay? That's always helpful for me. And definitely share this with anybody who you feel it might resonate for. But yeah, the thing is that like a maiden often stays stuck there and never actually feels met fully because nobody can ever fill that void. And often that's where people start to feel like rage. Like this didn't work for me. I'm mad at you for not fulfilling this. And it's like we need to do the work ourselves. So if this resonates for you at all, I hope that you will let me know and go over to fertilelikeamother.com. If you want me to keep telling you how to drink your teas and what to do, definitely watch old videos and go to the website. There's tons and tons of information there. I'm just answering a few questions. You can add cinnamon to the tea, you can add honey to the tea. I don't recommend adding sugar, all those things. But for those of you that feel inspired to do a little bit of a more like kind of self introspective work, I promise you that when you do this, you come out the other side and it doesn't matter what your doctor is telling you or even what I'm telling you. There's a sense of like deep inner knowing of what will be right for you and the work that you need to do. And for some of you, you will feel like, oh, yeah, I have some issues with my mother I need to work on and like what the mother means to me. So many of us don't like, we say like Mother Earth or Earth Mother, and that's like this whole thing, but a lot of us don't really resonate with that. I actually was creating this program and I wanted to have the word mother in it. And I got this feedback that so many people are triggered by that word because of their own relationship with their mother that they can't even, be a part of something that has that word in it, which is interesting. So if you find that this resonates at all, then I hope that you will join me. I have to go take my son to a socially distanced Halloween party. He's being Link from Zelda. So I have to run. But as always, it's a pleasure to sit with you and to think about these things for you. And I know this was different. I know this isn't like, let me tell you exactly what tea to drink on what day. And I know that's what some of you are watching. And if that is what you were wanting, I hope you'll go back and watch some of my other videos because it's all there. But for those of you who feel inspired to do a little bit of deeper work, I have that work available for you. And while I can't rescue you from the deep, dark woods, I would love to be your guide and your friend and your sister as you kind of journey through and just help you, help kind of reflect what's there for you. So, because there's a lot there. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for stopping in, and I will see you soon. Bye.